Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new you where we have twin flames to heal and to master thyself along thy twin flame journey. My name is Ruby Lee, and I am a self mastery coach, and I am a twin flame specialist. And so, if you are in separation from your twin at the moment, and if you want support along your twin flame journey, you want to make sure you click that bell and become a subscriber to the New You community. For this community has been created especially for you. And so today's topic of discussion is simply titled, How Do God Speaks to Us? How do God communicate with us? How do you know that God is communicating with you? And so let's get into it. I don't know about you guys, but I know for me, for years, I have gotten accustomed to how God speaks to me. And it's been primarily through downloads that I like to call inspired information, right? I would become inspired all of a sudden. I would have an inspired thought. And so I have gotten used to God communicating with me through downloading information within me. And this year, one of the things that I have experienced is that God communicates with me in so many different ways beyond just receiving the downloads of inspiration. That God will put you in situations to show you something, have you experience something for you to get the lesson. Because sometimes those downloads just don't get it. Sometimes we can be, I know, especially me, we can be very stubborn. We can be very rebellious. And so sometimes God has to put you in situations so that you can get the lesson that you need, so that you can overcome what it is that you need to overcome, so that you can walk into the blessing that you've been praying and asking for. And so, like I said, one of the things that I have been experiencing this year on a consistent basis is having to revisit old stuff that I thought that it was over, it was done and done. I mean, there have been things that I had to go back and revisit that I never thought in a million years that I would be going back there to revisiting that. And there were two things in particularly that God had me go back to revisit that I never thought, like I said, that I will be there, right? One of them was a relationship that I had with a particular individual over 14 years ago. Like, I almost forgot about him. Like, the relationship we had, it didn't last very long at all. So I almost forgot about him. But I had to go back. And I had to realize my contribution that I made to his heartbreak. I've always thought in relationships that I was the innocent one, right? That I am the good girl. I'm the innocent one. I do, what's right. But what I have come to the understanding of, like, no, you ain't always the good girl. You have broke some hearts. You have hurt some feelings. And so a few months back, I had to go back and I had to apologize. I had to do something that I never thought that I would ever do. And as a matter of fact, I forgot about the guy, but obviously he had not forgotten about me. Obviously, I have hurt this man very deeply, and he actually expressed that. And so I had to go in, I had to apologize. And after I did my job, I did what I was supposed to do. Shortly after that, the relationship ended, right? We were trying to, make something long-term out of it, but it just Like I said, the whole purpose of it was to close that old cycle. And like I said, I had to go back. I had to apologize. I had to see my own wrongdoings. And that's that. And so here I am now. I had to revisit a job that I never thought that I would be on again. And I am closing an old cycle, an old way of working. And I'm learning to be an entrepreneur, and I'm learning about business, and I'm creating my blog. I've created my business, and so as I am beginning a new journey of my entrepreneur pursuits, I'm also closing out an old way of working that's outdated, that just doesn't work for me anymore. And it's funny too, because the same place where it all began is the same place where it's ending. Like, God placed me back on the job that I asked for and I prayed for years ago, that I really wanted years ago, because it was a good paying job. And for me to get that job, it was like a good thing, good benefits and all that. And so I remember years ago, I prayed for it, I asked for it, I fasted for it, I got it. And then 6 months to a year later, I realized after experiencing it that I didn't want to experience it anymore, that it really wasn't for me. And here I am, right, years with a Z later, on the job, closing out old cycles. And what I am learning is that sometimes God would have you go back to experience something that's going to really help you to break that old cycle, break whatever attachment that you may had to that relationship or to that job or that way of working. Because I have had built an attachment, a habit. I've created a habit of a certain way of working, a certain way of receiving my money and doing things. And God is really shifting me on out of it. He's calling me into something completely different. And for years, I've been having a hard time really breaking that 9 to 5 cycle. Right? I've been praying about it. I've been asking about it. I've been, learning about entrepreneurship, learning about business, and entertaining the ideal, right, of having my own business and things like that. But I still have been attached to the old way of working. And so what I believe that God is having me do is go back and revisit that. Not to stay, but to revisit it so that I can experience what it is that I need to experience to really break that thing up off of me. To put me in a position where I am going to be like, I'm never going back to that place. I'm done with that way of working. I'm done with, making making in that type of way. Because right now, the experience that I'm having on the job is not a good one. It's not a good one. It is not a good one. I have never experienced such testings like I am on this job. But that's how I know. That's how I know that God is shifting me to a whole new thing. What once was comfortable for me is no longer comfortable. What I once prayed and asked for and wanted I don't want no more. It's not in alignment with who I am. And so a lot of times we pray and we ask God to break these old cycles and to shift us and to change us. But sometimes we don't know exactly the steps, the journey that God is going to take you through to actually break that cycle, to actually end that old cycle, to actually step out of one thing to step into something new. And so I know that I'm there to break an old cycle, to end an old cycle. And I even have a level of understanding that sometimes in order to do that, God has to put the heat on you. God has to have you experience something that is so terrible that it will put you in a position of leaving the old and really pushing through into the new thing that God has for you. And so this video is really about understanding that God just doesn't speak to you through downloads, right? Sometimes God will place you in situations with people. He will place you in certain circumstances for you to really get the lesson that you need to receive in order to really push through into the new thing that you've been praying for, that you've been asking for. And so guys, that is it. My name is Ruby Lee. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please click that thumbs up. Please share this video with your followers. And until next time, bye-bye.